All right, year 12s, listen up. If you're here, you're not just trying to pass design and technology. You're aiming for the very top. We're talking Band 6, a potential state nomination, and a mark that lands you in that elite 95 to 100 club.
And here's the absolute truth, the thing every single expert marker agrees on. The real difference between a pretty good project and a truly great one comes down to your research. This right here, this is your blueprint for building that rock-solid foundation, the kind that scores top marks every time.
So let's get right to it. Your research has to prove there's a genuine, ongoing need in our society. And I don't mean some vague idea. I mean a problem you can back up with specific, current, hard numbers. Like this one. For the first time ever, the median rent in our capital cities has blown past $700 a week.
And if that doesn't paint a picture, this number will. 1.2%. That's the national rental vacancy rate. It's not just a statistic, folks. It's a full-blown crisis. It tells a story of a structural failure that affects millions of us every single day.
And to top it all off, the amount of money households are actually managing to save has hit rock bottom, down to just 3 or 4%. People have no financial cushion left. Now this is the level of research that justifies a project. It immediately tells a marker you're serious and puts you right in that Band 6 conversation.
When you've got this kind of research, you're tapping into what we markers call the permanent backdrop of Australian life. These are the deep structural challenges that define our society. You focus your project on one of these 4, and you are on a direct path to the top.
So what are they? They're the big 4. You've got the housing and rental crisis, the relentless cost of living, the massive pressure on our healthcare system, and the constant strain on our infrastructure. If your project tackles any one of these, a marker is going to instantly recognize it as important and relevant.
Okay, let's kick things off with the housing crisis. The genuine need here is for designs that are super space efficient, sustainable, and affordable. We need systems that make living in smaller, more expensive spaces actually work. Think all things micro-living.
The evidence for this is it's overwhelming. Rents are sky high, and people are spending over a third of their entire income just on rent. The demand is crystal clear. So projects that use sustainable materials, think bamboo ply or recycled plastics, and combine them with clever, innovative mechanisms like transforming furniture, well, they consistently score in the top bands.
Second on our list, the cost of living. And let's narrow in on one of the biggest pain points, energy. The real need here is for smart domestic energy systems that give families actual control over how much power they use and, how much they pay for it.
I mean, just look at the numbers. Power prices have jumped by nearly 40%, while savings have completely disappeared. So, any project that can demonstrably cut a household's energy use by 25 to 30%, you're not just making a gadget, you're tackling a massive source of national anxiety. You're solving a problem felt in basically every home in the country.
Our third core area is all about healthcare. The genuine need is for assistive devices that are affordable and actually user-friendly, things that help people manage their own health from home, taking some of the immense pressure off our overloaded public system.
Get this, over a quarter of Australians are delaying medical care because they just can't afford it. And our emergency rooms, they are absolutely struggling to keep up. So projects that make telehealth easier through simple data transfer or help older Australians stay independent, these aren't just innovative, they're essential.
And finally, let's talk about the friction of just getting around in our daily lives. As our cities keep growing, the strain on infrastructure creates thousands of little frustrations every day. The need here is for products that can reduce this urban friction, whether it's for one person or a whole community.
With our population growing fast, our infrastructure is always playing catch-up. The absolute key for a project in this space is to connect this huge macro-level problem to a real person's daily experience. How can your design solve a specific pain point that's caused by living in a crowded, congested city?
So, there you have it. Pick one of those 4 areas, and you're squarely on the path to a Band 6. But if you want to push beyond that into the state-ranking 99 out of 100 territory, you need to use an advanced technique. We call it triangulation. It's about finding a need that exists at the intersection of multiple crises.
This is what we mean by a sophisticated problem definition. You're not just solving one simple problem. You're showing the marker that you understand how these deep, complex issues overlap, connect, and actually make each other worse. That demonstrates a level of analysis that is truly top tier.
Let me show you what I mean. Let's look at a pattern. On one hand, you have extreme financial vulnerability, that tiny 3–4% savings ratio.
On the other hand, you've got this terrifying new digital threat, super targeted, AI-driven scams, like voice cloning. It's the stuff of nightmares.
So the triangulated need isn't just for better cybersecurity. No way. It's for proactive, affordable systems that are specifically designed to defend financially strained households against digital fraud that preys on their vulnerability. Do you see how much deeper and more sophisticated that problem is?
Okay, here's another pattern for you. The healthcare crisis is often defined by high gap fees and crazy long wait times. Well, this creates something we call an economic lockout, especially in youth mental health, where the wait to see someone can be 3 or 4 months long.
So the resulting need is for non-traditional, affordable support systems. We're talking about things that can bypass the human bottleneck, designs that provide real, measurable support without relying on a system that's just too expensive and too hard to access. Now that is the kind of thinking that gets you a state rank.
Look, identifying that perfect, complex need is absolutely critical, but it's only half the battle. To actually get that 99 or 100, your execution has to be flawless. Every marker has a mental checklist they run through, and believe me, this is it. First, you have to use the exact data we've been talking about in your folio. Second, you have to do real primary research. That means talking to at least 50 real users. Third, your finish needs to be commercial grade. It has to look and feel professional, absolutely flawless. Fourth, sustainability can't be an afterthought. It has to be baked in from day one. And finally, your evaluation has to be quantitative. Don't just tell us it works, prove it with data from real-world testing. So, as you move forward with your project, I want you to ask yourself this one last question. Does my project solve a problem that is more complex than it first appears? If you can confidently answer yes, and you have the data and the execution to back it up, then you are well on your way to an absolutely extraordinary result.